So hi, this is Francisco from Aveiro in Portugal. So I've been following Ed Nash in YouTube and his reports about the civil war in Myanmar. There have been some developments. So recently the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese army, well, it's a communist Chinese army because Taiwan is also China, it has issued what is essentially a threat towards the rebels in Myanmar following their stream of victories against the military junta. So this is interesting because it poses a possibility of China involving itself in a guerrilla war in the jungles of Asia. Now, I'm not saying that that will happen, but it's interesting to see what could happen. On a different note, like Myanmar is a tropical nation in Southeast Asia that has been suffering the civil war for a few years since the military junta took complete control over the country, arrested or expelled the democratically elected government that had little power anyways, and since then that the populations, the different ethnicities, form their own militias to fight the junta. So you have these two factions, the rebels, the ethnic rebels, and the junta, and then we have a third faction, which is the Republic of Wa, a rebel group formed from ethnic Chinese that has strong ties to the Chinese, to Beijing. So what has happened is that the democratic rebels, let's call them that, have been having a series of victories against the junta. So they've recently liberated a lot of territories in the northeast, and they might soon even march to the capital, who knows. But what this has created is a situation where the tug of war that has been fought between the rebels and the junta is basically that stability is no more. The rebels are advancing, and the Chinese, despite their alliance with the junta, they have been actually supporting all sides of this war, making a lot of money. And they might not like this situation, and that's what Ed Nash says. They are threatening threatening the rebels simply to kind of make them stop their advance so they can return to the previous stability. But then the Republic of Wa, which is as an army, they've been kind of taking over the liberated regions and policing them. They made a statement where they are to be prepared for war, and they call all of their supporters to home so they can participate in this conflict, which means they are preparing themselves for something. Now, as stated in the videos that I talked about, Nash doesn't believe that there will be a land invasion by China. But what if that happened? You know, like, because the Chinese have been making military exercises on the border. So what if they invaded Myanmar to help the junta retake the territory and reunifying the nation? The idea of China involving itself in a guerrilla war in the jungles of Southeast Asia is something that kinda itches my brain, because that could prepare the ground for the collapse of China. China itself has been having a lot of trouble with its economy, its demography, and its allies. I mean, its largest ally is knee-deep in the destructive war in Ukraine. North Korea is insane. Pakistan is doubly insane. So they have a lack of stable allies. So helping the junta could be a way to gain a stable ally despite the internal struggles. However, China has tried to invade neighboring countries before. They kinda won a small-scale conflict with India, but they got their asses kicked by Vietnam after the Vietnamese expelled the Americans. They then proceeded to expel the Chinese. So I do believe that the People's Republic of China does not have the capacity to win that kind of conflict. They are well armed, but honestly not very well trained, nor are they experienced enough in that kind of affairs. So they could invade, maybe a small scale invasion, that will then soon quickly be bogged down, especially because I believe that the rebels have some contingency for that kind of stuff. And anyways, invading jungle is never a good thing to do. So that's interesting. It's an interesting option for those of us who kinda want the great tyrannies of today to fall and give way to actual democracies or freer states. This is an interesting possibility, and I'll be watching to see what happens. And follow Ed Nash. He has been making a great work in monitoring the situation in Myanmar, which has been kind of forgotten. Like, Ukraine is incredibly important. It is the great geopolitical event of our day, but the conflicts in Myanmar, in Sudan, in Iran, and other places are also very important because they are shaping the world that we will live in for the next decades. So let's keep an eye on this. It will be interesting if China actually does something.